will probably start at least a game or two as well. I'm Zach Gelb.
Get ready, Friar Faithful. This is the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Jackson swings, hits it in the air, deep to right field. He has done it again. Unbelievable.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt.
Ultimately, what we're here to do is win.
From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today, the Padres take on the San Francisco Giants in the second game of a 4-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Giants, right-hander Kai-Wei Teng, and for the Padres, right-hander Nick Pivetta. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 6:40 as the Padres continue this 7-game homestand. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We'll hear from tonight's DH, Ryan O'Hearn. We'll hear from Jackson Merrill, who continues to deal with an ankle injury. And we check in with Padres radio voice Jesse Agler in just a little bit. But first, it's time to set the table. Brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres entered today 69-56. They've lost 4 in a row. They do enter the day 2 games out of first place in the National League West, and the Padres still hold the NL's second wild card spot. Giants, meanwhile, enter 61-64. They've now won 2 in a row after snapping a 7-game losing streak over the weekend. Since July 12th, the Giants are just 9-21. They are 5.5 games out of the NL's final wild card spot. We had the series opener against the Giants last night here in downtown San Diego. Let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Nestor Cortez took the mound for San Diego. Elliot Ramos led off for San Francisco.
Gone bad. Ramos sends this one in the air to deep left field, though. Laureano is at the wall, leaps up, it's going to go. A leadoff homer for Elliot Ramos. And the Giants take a 1-0 lead on the 4th pitch of the game.
Giants weren't done. Next up was Rafael Devers.
0-1 to Devers. He rips one in the air deep to right field. Fernando is back at the wall. This one also will go. Back-to-back home runs to begin the night for Elliot Ramos and Rafael Devers. And it's the Giants ahead 2-0, 6 pitches into the game.
Giants weren't done. Casey Schmidt hit a 1-out double. Then Wilmer Flores hit a 2-run home run. 5 batters into the game. The Giants had a 4-0 lead. Fast forward to the bottom half of the second. Padres still down 4-0. Xander Bogaerts led off, hit a deep fly ball to left. Ramos went back to the wall, reached up, the ball hit his glove, went over the fence. It was rolled a home run on the field, but then we had a crew chief initiated replay review on Review New York ruling that fans had reached out and committed spectator interference. They overturned the call. It was a fly out to left field instead. So instead of a home run, a run taken off the board, and Bogaerts essentially flew out to the left fielder Ramos. Again, the replay room saying there was enough to call for spectator interference. Padres did not score in the bottom half of the second. Fast forward, bottom 7, Padres still down 4-0. Xander Bogaerts hit a 1-out double against Robbie Ray. Jose Iglesias was next.
Ball to strike the pitch. And Iglesias grounds it to the left side. Schmidt gobbles it up, drops it, picks it up, throws to first, not in time, and the throw gets away into the stands, and Bogaerts will come in to score.
With 2 outs and Iglesias still on base, it was pinch hitter Ryan O'Hearn.
O'Hearn facing Robbie Ray for the first time. A 1 pitch, swung on, hit in the air to deep center field. Lee's going back. He's at the wall. He's going to watch. Hit's going to go! Ryan O'Hearn, a 2-run pinch hit homer, and a 1-run game in the bottom of the 7th.
What a weapon to have come off the bench in a big spot.
Padres got within a run 4-3, but they did not score another, unfortunately. Final score yesterday, Giants 4 and the Padres 3. And now the Padres turning the page as they send right-hander Nick Pivetta to the mound here today. And we'll get into the numbers a little bit later, but Pivetta has been very, very good after Padres losses this season. We'll see if Pivetta can once again be the stopper here today. First pitch coming up at 6:40. Let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Jesse, obviously going back to Friday, it hasn't been a great handful of days for the Padres, but a nice opportunity with Nick Pivetta on the mound to turn things in the right direction. I'll ask you simply, what do you feel like the biggest issue for the Padres has been in this little 4-game skid?
Probably the starting pitching, right? It's not too much of a mystery, I don't think. Nestor worked his way into the 6th inning last night, which was super impressive, but giving up 3 home runs in the first is not an ideal way to start. And you were down 4-0 before you came to that. The day before in Los Angeles, down 4-0 and after an inning with Darvish on the mound. Day before that, Dylan Cease on the hill, and you were down 3-0 after an inning. And it's just really, really hard to come back and win games like that. And this team has maybe spoiled us a little bit by doing so a handful of times this year, but you play with fire enough times, you're going to get burned, right? And I think that's kind of what we've been seeing. So all of that is to say it is great that Nick Pivetta is on the mound today.
Yeah.
I know you were running with Mike Shildt earlier this afternoon, his numbers after a loss, and they've been very, very good. But, of course, his numbers generally have been very, very good this year. But, when you talk about a stopper, I think what Nick has done this year for the Padres is exactly what you're talking about. So a very well-timed start for Nick Pivetta tonight.
Yeah, he is the right guy on the mound tonight for sure. Let's talk a little bit more about Pivetta, Jesse, because I do think in the context of his season, he's got a sub-3 ERA, 2.87. We all know he's been terrific. But it's almost important to remember the Padres signed him in spring training. At the time of the signing, that was before Darvish went down. That was before Michael King missed a lot of time. I don't know that any of us were viewing Nick Pivetta as really the ace of this staff in 2025, but that's what he's been. How would you sort of sum up Pivetta's season to this point in the context of, what you thought you were getting when you signed him?
Yeah, I think he's exceeded all expectations, and job not done, obviously. 12 wins is remarkable. The sub-3 ERA is phenomenal, but it is August 19th, and there is a lot more to accomplish for Nick Pivetta as there is for this Padre team. And I think Nick would be the first one to tell you that, if this ends with a flame out in the postseason, it's going to feel like the job was not done. But look, he has, you look at the back of his baseball card, he's having a career year. And, one of my sort of, not a 10 commandment, but one of my things, I feel about baseball is when you have a competitive team as the Padres do, and you're getting a career year out of a guy like Nick Pivetta, while you're also getting a career year out of a guy like Manny Machado, and also now a guy like Ramon Laureano, however many you want to throw in there, you got to take advantage of that. And, that's a sign that it's full throttle, all systems go, which is obviously what we saw from the Padres at the trade deadline. And, those are sure signs to me that this is the kind of year you can have where special things can happen. And I felt that way last year with a lot of what we saw, maybe from a new guy like Luis Arraez or a new guy like Michael King. And it didn't go all the way in the postseason, as we know. But, those are the kinds of things you really, really want to take advantage of. And Nick has been huge this year. Cannot overstate it.
Padres are dealing with a couple of guys out of the lineup today. Jackson Merrill out of the lineup for a second straight day as he continues to deal with the ankle. Jay Cronenworth hit by a pitch in the elbow last night. He will not be in the starting lineup today. Ryan O'Hearn in there. Gavin Sheets in there. Jose Iglesias in there. And I think a good example, Jesse, when we talk about the moves the Padres made at the deadline to just become a deeper team, this is part of it too. Not just so you have a deeper bench and you have a longer lineup, but hey, over the course of a few months, injuries happen. And now, I don't want to say you're not missing much without Merrill and Cronenworth in the lineup. Of course you are, but at least you have the reinforcements where, hey, now you've got O'Hearn and Sheets in the lineup, and I think you feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You're building depth, not just so that you can have a pinch hit matchup in the 7th inning, although you certainly love the ability to do that, but also so that you can absorb these types of things happening. And, think back last year, Fernando missed such a huge chunk of the season, and the Padres were running David Peralta out to right field almost every single day for a couple of months. And I'm not going to say you didn't notice Fernando was gone because, of course,
Right.
you always notice when Fernando was gone. But David Peralta more than did his part last year. And it was that kind of depth that allowed the 2024 Padres to win the second most games any Padre team has ever won. And it's that kind of depth that I expect will help buoy the Padres, here these last 5 weeks of this season.
And this lineup goes up against right-hander Kai-Wei Tseng on the mound for San Francisco today. A starting pitcher the Padres hit pretty hard last week in San Francisco. You certainly hope it can be that way once again here today. Jesse, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Tony at 6:30. Thanks so much.
You got it, Sam.
All right, that is Jesse Agler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network. Again, first pitch coming up at 6:40 as the Padres take on the San Francisco Giants. Even after yesterday's loss, the Padres have won 7 out of 10 against the Giants this season. Remember, they swept them in San Francisco last week. They outscored them in that series 20-3. Padres also looking to avoid losing 5 in a row for the first time since a season worst 6-game losing streak in May. Padres also looking to avoid back-to-back home losses for the first time since mid-June. Their 38-21 record in this building is tied for the third best home record in the major leagues, with the Phillies only behind the Brewers and the Blue Jays. So Padres have been a very, very good home team. It's been a while since they've dropped consecutive games here at home. Again, it's been 2 months since they've done that. So hopefully that is not the case here today. Hopefully a win today to snap a little 4-game losing skid and get things back on track in game 2 of this 4-game series. So when we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We have headlines from around the major leagues. A little bit later, we'll hear from Ryan O'Hearn, who's in the lineup today and DHing. We'll also hear from Jackson Merrill, who continues to deal with that ankle injury. We'll hear a little bit from Ramon Laureano as well. He's in center field today, and we'll take a first look at the Padres lineup when we come back. A little bit of a different lineup, obviously, today with no Merrill and no Cronenworth. All that and more coming up as we get ready for first pitch at 6:40 on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Stay tuned to the
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Middle Building at Petco Park as we get ready for today's game. First pitch coming up at 6:40 between the Padres and the Giants, game 2 of this 4-game series. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can find me on X at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Instagram DM's open as well. Sammy Lev there too. You can also DM me on TikTok at Sammy Levitt, SammyLevitt. You can also, as always, chime in on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube page. Let me know who you are, where you're tuned in from on this Tuesday evening. May just give you a shout out here on the air. If you want to share a key to today's game, you can do that as well. The West Divisional Showdown against San Francisco is presented by Palomar Health, reimagining healthcare. Let's take a first look at the Padres lineup here today. Again, no Jackson Merrill, no Jake Cronenworth. We'll get into their injuries a little bit later, and you're going to hear about it from Mike Shildt coming up in just a moment as well. Leading off today, right fielder Fernando Tatis Jr. Luis Arraez is playing first base, batting second. Manny Machado at third base, batting third. Ryan O'Hearn, the DH, batting cleanup. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop, batting fifth. Ramon Laureano in center field, batting sixth. Gavin Sheets in left field, batting seventh. Jose Iglesias at second base, batting eighth. And Elias Diaz is doing the catching and batting ninth, with right-hander Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Padres. Right-hander Kaiwei Teng on the mound for the Giants. With all that in mind, let's go downstairs and hear from the Padres skipper.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Served up where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Mike, can you give us an update on Jackson Merrill, how he's doing?
Got some imaging, x-ray, negative, which is clearly positive, and he's day-to-day, feels incrementally better today, but everybody heals differently. He's a young athlete, so we'll see, but ankles could be tricky, but he's not in the lineup today.
So as good as can be, it sounds like, then, as far as the imaging goes.
Yeah, I mean, nothing that we see at the moment. I mean, we've all been down this road where nothing's there, and then all of a sudden something pops up, but yeah, I mean, nothing structural that the medical teams are really concerned about. He's rolled his ankle, and there's some tenderness there and a little bit of swelling and soreness, obviously.
How about Jake, after getting hit by the pitch last night?
Woke up better than he thought he was going to be. The medical team thought he was a little better than they anticipated as well. He's going to still go. He's been swinging the bat now and seeing about his availability off the bench.
Nick Pivetta, he's been your stopper all season long, gets another opportunity tonight, but the relationship that he has with Elias Diaz, it seems like they've really done a great job of bonding and having that connection behind the plate too.
Yeah, they do a good job, work well together. I do believe that there is a relationship there. I got the privilege of seeing it for years with Waino and Yachty, and most career battery starts together, and get a chance to be behind the scenes, the privilege that I get to see how guys interact and connect and talk and grow and think with each other, and can't have everybody have their own personal catcher, but it is nice that they've worked together as well as they have.
Jackson seemed very frustrated to not be able to play during an important stretch. He said the plan was to take it easy. How important is it to have Jackson healthy down this stretch and just really take it a little time?
Yeah, I think health's clearly important. Jackson's health's going to be important. Michael King's health's going to be important. Keeping Yu Darvish healthy is going to be important. I think that's going to be a big key to our success, anybody's success, basically in this league, is to have your better players healthy and on the field performing.
Speaking of Michael King, what's the plan after his bullpen yesterday?
We're going to see how he recovers. The issue last time was he threw a bullpen and didn't recover well the next day. That's why pretty consistently, and we'll talk about the recovery component to it. And Michael hasn't gotten out yet physically, but walked in a pretty good space. So we'll see.
How will JP be used tomorrow? Assuming he's here, he's going to be used tomorrow.
He's going to start tomorrow, Jeff.
Start. Ramon's been playing right since getting here. Has his presence been felt in the clubhouse?
Yes, Ramon's been fantastic. His presence has been he's fit in wonderfully. He's it's a very competitive team, and a culture that, takes it serious and looks to compete every day. And Ramon's not only fit into that, but help grow it.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt earlier today inside the Padres dugout. We'll hear more from Mike on our post-game coverage coming up later on this evening. Sam Levitt back with you inside the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for today's game 2 of this 4-game set between the Padres and the San Francisco Giants. You heard there from Mike Shildt. JP Sears will start tomorrow for the Padres. So the remaining rotation for the rest of this series after today, left-hander JP Sears will make his second start as a Padre tomorrow following the trade from the A's at the deadline. And then right-hander Dylan Cease will pitch on Thursday. It'll be Landon Roop on the mound for the Giants tomorrow. Justin Verlander on the mound for the Giants on Thursday. But again, JP Sears will get called up from AAA, as we heard there, to make the start tomorrow for the Padres. Let's take a look at headlines from around the major leagues as we go around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Seattle Mariners outfielder Victor Robles received a 10-game suspension for what he did during a rehab assignment at AAA on Sunday. Las Vegas starter Joey Estes first pitch to Robles in the third inning was inside, and Robles swung at it to avoid getting hit. After taking a few steps behind the plate and dropping his bat, Robles picked up the bat and threw it in Estes' direction. He was immediately ejected from the game. Robles was by the plate umpire, and then Major League Baseball again coming down with a 10-game suspension for Robles tossing his bat at the pitcher. So you can't do that, obviously, and Robles now serving a suspension, which also could make things a little complicated when the Mariners want to activate him, because he has to serve that suspension after he's activated, meaning the Mariners would have to play a man down. So kind of a complicated situation with Robles and the Mariners now, but that's some news on Victor Robles, who was on a rehab assignment. Phillies lefty Jose Alvarado was reinstated from the restricted list today. He was suspended earlier this season for violating baseball's performance-enhancing drug policy. Alvarado will be ineligible for the postseason. He did have a 2.70 ERA before being suspended in May. The Rangers are skipping Jacob deGrom's next start later this week because of shoulder fatigue, but the Rangers say it is merely managing his workload, and he is not expected to spend time on the injured list. Of course, deGrom, a 5-time All-Star. He was supposed to start Wednesday in Kansas City. He was examined in Texas by Dr. Keith Meister, and the checks came back clean. So it looks like deGrom could make his next scheduled start as soon as next week. But again, the Rangers are skipping deGrom in this turn through the rotation due to shoulder fatigue. The Mets putting catcher Francisco Alvarez on the 10-day IL earlier today with a right thumb UCL sprain. The Mets saying Alvarez would be reevaluated in 10 to 14 days, and then they will go from there. And that's a look at some headlines from around the major leagues. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later as well. When we come back, we'll dive into some interesting numbers with runners in scoring position, our keys to the game. You'll also hear from Ryan O'Hearn, from Jackson Merrill, and much, much more as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40 here in downtown San Diego on what's turning into a gorgeous Tuesday night here in August. Our pregame coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network.
Hey, gang, it's Woodsy. Ever wanted to drink your shower water? With EcoWater SoCal Smart Filtration, you actually...
Back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, improving your family's water one tap at a time. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park as we get ready for today's game. First pitch coming up at 6:40. Game 2 of this 4-game set between the Padres and the Giants. Padres sending right-hander Nick Pivetta to the mound and right-hander Kai-Wei Ting on the mound for San Francisco. Let's give you the latest on who is out of tonight's lineup for the Pods.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, Jackson Merrill is out of the lineup today for the Padres for a second straight game. Jackson continuing to deal with that left ankle injury that he rolled on Friday night in L.A. Jake Cronenworth was hit by a pitch in the right elbow last night, came out of the game a couple of innings later. He is not in the lineup tonight either. Matt Chapman for the Giants, he continues to be on the IL with a hand injury. Sounds like there's a chance he could return this weekend for San Francisco, but certainly sounds like he's going to miss this series. So again, he's on the IL with a hand injury, but Padres without two key players in their lineup tonight, Merrill and Cronenworth. And speaking of Jackson Merrill, he spoke with the media earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse about his status and that ankle injury.
I mean, it looks like you're having a hard time. You're limping when you're walking. What are you able to do right now?
Yeah, just as much as I kind of want to. I obviously want to play. Care a lot about being on the field, especially this week. But just kind of taking it slow.
Are you hopeful that you can avoid the IL, or is it still too soon to?
We'll see. Out? It doesn't really. I'm not really thinking about it right now. I'm just kind of trying to focus on today and what I got today, and I'll go from there.
Have you had any imaging yet?
No, nothing really. Just X-ray, but not really.
X-ray was good.
Yeah, just chilling.
How frustrating is it right now? I mean, there's never a good time for it, but I know you guys are just in the heat of things right now, especially with the teams that you are facing.
It's just frustrating. It's a lot of uncontrollable injury this year, and just it's been up and down year. A lot of good ups, a lot of bad downs. Just kind of going through it, but stay positive thoughts. The team's gonna get hot here. We're gonna get on a roll and roll into October. So I'm just looking to get back into it.
Knowing the pieces that you do have, to play with Bryce Johnson, Ramon Laureano, the guys that have contributed, is that just tough a little bit knowing that you guys do have that depth?
Yeah, of course. We got guys all around the room. We get hit 1 through 13. So, I trust everybody in here, especially Bryce. He's been a really good person, an awesome teammate the whole year. I just appreciate having him here all the time. And he wants to play, so when he gets in there, he's giving it his best.
Just having a Friday, and then you tried to fight through it through a couple of days, and it just got too much to bear. Is that what it was?
I would still be playing on it right now. I think it's just more of a organizational decision more than mine. I want to play and I want to be in there. But I think everybody saw I wasn't right in my IV, so I just trust them too.
That was Jackson Merrill earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse. So we'll see what the deal is with Jackson here moving forward. Certainly sounds like it's not necessarily out of the question that he could go on the IL for this, and we'll see what the status is for Merrill tomorrow and what Mike Shildt and Jackson Merrill continue to say about this left ankle injury, but obviously not great news for the Padres. Jackson Merrill, very, very important to this team and this outfield, and we'll continue to provide the updates on the status of Jackson Merrill. First pitch coming up at 6:40 here in San Diego. Let's give you our keys to tonight's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by El Centro Motors Ford. Meet your new Ford General Manager, Greg Ryan, now at El Centro Motors Ford, your new Ford truck, Bronco, and SUV HQ. Call Greg directly at 619-944-0774.
Key number 1. Jump ahead. The Padres have had 3 straight days of really rough first innings. Dylan Cease gave up 3 runs in the first inning on Saturday. Yu Darvish gave up 4 runs in the first inning on Sunday. And then last night, Nestor Cortes gave up 4 runs in the first inning. The Padres have trailed in 34 consecutive innings, going back to the 3rd in LA on Friday. So the Padres, as of late, this has really been the problem. We talked about it with Jesse a little bit earlier. They are consistently finding themselves trailing early. They have got to try to jump on a young pitcher today in Kai-Wei Ting and take a lead. Give yourself a chance to hand a lead to your great bullpen. The Padres and this bullpen, they haven't had a chance to deal with the lead basically in 4 games. So that has been a big issue. Padres have to find a way to jump ahead in tonight's game. That's key number 1. Key number 2, limit Rafael Devers. Devers hit a solo home run in the first inning last night. He has not been great per se with the Giants, but he's been much better on the road than at home since getting traded to San Francisco. He has an 870 OPS and 15 RBIs in 23 road games with the Giants. Compare that to just the 677 OPS and 9 RBIs in 30 games at home. Again, Devers had the home run yesterday. He is better on the road, at least right now with the Giants. Got to limit him here today. That's key number 2. Key number 3, we're going to dive into Nick Pivetta a little bit later. But Pivetta has no doubt been a stopper this season. He has been great exactly in situations like tonight, coming off a loss. He's 7-2 with a 2.18 ERA in 12 starts this season following a Padres loss. Again, we'll have more on him later, but Nick Pivetta being that stopper once again here tonight, key number 3. Key number 4, more Manny, and I feel like we've talked about this for a handful of days now, but Manny Machado has no RBIs in his last 14 games. That is tied for the longest drought of his career within a single season. The Padres need Manny to be a run producer, to hit home runs, and he's had a great year. He's going through a tough couple of weeks. It happens. However, hey, when you've lost 4 in a row and your offense isn't doing a whole lot, Padres need Manny to get it going, and especially in that run-producing department. And that's a look at our keys to tonight's game. Oh, Ramon Laureano certainly has been great for the Padres since coming over in the trade from Baltimore. Laureano in his first 16 games with the Padres is sitting .317, a .379 on base percentage, .633 slugging percentage, 9 extra base hits, 12 RBIs, 5 walks, and 11 runs scored. And today it's a little bit different for Laureano because he's playing center field with Jackson Merrill out of the lineup with that ankle injury. So the outfield for the Padres is Laureano in center, Gavin Sheets in left, Fernando Tatis Jr. in right. I caught up with Ramon a little bit earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse. We talked about him playing center field.
You're playing center field tonight. Obviously, Jackson out of the lineup dealing with the ankle injury. What's your comfort level out there in center?
Unfortunately, with Jackson down for a couple of days, maybe. I think, I like to be. I haven't really been fully there in a couple of years, I think, and I think it's gonna be good. I really like playing new positions. Let's say that, even though I have played before, but it's just good. See it on a different perspective. The game, you feel more engaged than playing the normal position, and it's good to. It entertains me, so I'm pretty happy and excited.
That was Ramon Laureano earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse. Yeah, Laureano played a lot of center field early in his career. It's been a little bit less so in the last few years, but he's somebody who has a lot of experience out there. So good to have Ramon Laureano, his capability of playing center field. He'll be out there today with Jackson Merrill not in the Padres lineup. Let's take a look at one note here, dealing with runners in scoring position, because there's a couple of things to look at here. Over the past 12 games, the Padres pitching staff has held opponents to a 163 batting average with runners in scoring position, and that's even with losing the last 4 games. But they've done a really good job when other teams get guys on base. For the most part, they have held those runners on base, and they have not allowed teams to capitalize on those opportunities. I bring it up because the Giants, despite winning yesterday, went 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position last night. Overall this year, the team is hitting just .234 in those situations with runners in scoring position. That ranks 28th out of 30 teams, just behind the Pirates and the Mariners. So the Giants have not been a great team with runners in scoring position all year, and the Padres, for the most part as of late, when you look at the last 12 games, again, they're holding opponents to a 163 batting average with runners in scoring position. So something to keep an eye on here tonight. When the Giants get guys on base, can the Padres prevent the Giants from scoring? We'll hear from Ryan O'Hearn coming up in a little bit, but first let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a couple of finals already today. Game 1 of a doubleheader in Chicago between the Cubs and the Brewers. Cubs won Game 1 of that doubleheader by a final score of 6-4. Game 2 of that doubleheader is coming up in a little bit in Chicago. Pardon me. Actually, it's underway. 4th inning, Cubs 2, Brewers 1. The score in Game 2 of that doubleheader. Again, the Cubs trying to sweep that doubleheader. Mets beat the Nationals already tonight. 8-1 in D.C. David Peterson went 7 strong innings in that game for the Mets, and an easy 8-1 win for New York in Washington, D.C. Mets have been playing really, really bad baseball. Pardon me, David Peterson actually went 8 innings, gave up 1 earned run in that game, but the Mets playing a little bit better now. Took 2 out of 3 from the Mariners over the weekend, and now winning in D.C. tonight. Games going on right now. Astros and the Tigers are scoreless in the 7th inning in Detroit. Cardinals lead the Marlins 7-4 in Miami in the 9th inning. Blue Jays lead the Pirates 7-3 in Pittsburgh in the 8th inning. Phillies 6, Mariners 4 in Philadelphia in the 8th. The Orioles lead the Red Sox 3-1 at Fenway in the 8th inning. White Sox lead the Braves 10-4 in Atlanta in the 7th. A's and the Twins in Minnesota tonight. A's leading 5-3 in the 6th inning. Rangers and the Royals tied at 2 in Kansas City in the 7th inning. Dodgers lead the Rockies 4-0 in Colorado in the 3rd. One game has not begun yet. Rain delay in Tampa. Yankees and the Rays there. They are yet to get underway. And a couple of games aside from this one yet to begin. Reds and the Angels in Anaheim at 6:38. Guardians and the Diamondbacks in Arizona at 6:40. And that's a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Tuesday evening. When we come back, we'll hear from tonight's designated hitter, Ryan O'Hearn. Plus, we tell you what to watch for in today's game. And we take a deeper dive into today's starting pitcher, Nick Pivetta. Much, much more to do on our pregame coverage. We return to Petco Park after this on the Padres Radio Network.
You're listening.
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch. Coming up at 6:40 between the Padres and the Giants, right-hander Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Padres here today. The West Divisional Showdown against San Francisco is presented by Palomar Health, reimagining healthcare. Now, the Padres trying to snap this 4-game skid. Let's talk about one guy that could be important in doing that as we tell you what to watch for.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in tonight's game? How about Xander Bogaerts? I'll tell you why. Xander, in a 7-game span, going back to the final game of the series against the Red Sox. Remember, Xander had been really, really good for a while. However, before last night, in a 7-game span, Xander was 5 for 27 with a couple of doubles and an RBI, but only hitting 185 in a 7-game span. Then you think about last night. He had what I think should have been a home run in the second inning. Then he had a double later in the game. So let's say that does stand for a home run. Let's say he hits it just a foot or two farther in left field. Would have had a home run and a double. So what to watch for in tonight's game? Padres facing a starting pitcher in Kai Wade saying that they should be able to hand tribute in a big way here tonight. Was last night a sign of things to come from Xander? And also no Merrill, no Cronenworth in the lineup tonight. Can Xander Bogaerts step forward with a big performance in the second game of this 4-game set here tonight? That's what to watch for in today's game between the Padres and the Giants. Another interesting part of today's game, Ryan O'Hearn DHing for the Padres and batting cleanup. O'Hearn spoke inside the clubhouse earlier today. Take a listen.
Ryan, first of all, just when you're going through a streak like this where you've lost 4 straight, how nice is it to have a guy like Nick on the bump, kind of a stopper for you guys?
Yeah, 100%. He's really good. And, you know he's going to throw strikes. He's going to give us a chance to win. So, yeah, 100%. Nick on the mound. I feel very confident with Nick on the mound. And, you saw what he did 5 days ago against these guys. So, hopefully he can do it again.
Has it been challenging to kind of stay ready on the bench when you were coming over from Baltimore playing pretty much every day to kind of the situation you're in right now?
No, because I did that role for years in Kansas City. And, I think especially this time of year, we're making a push on the division. It's coming down to the wire, a month and a half left. So it's all hands on deck, team first mentality. And I'm buying into that.
How much pride do you take in being able to hit lefties, and how much do you buy into the whole matchup situation, lefty-lefty, stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm going to go out there and compete no matter who's on the mound. I have all the confidence in the world in myself. I've had success against lefties before. I've sucked against lefties before. It's just part of the game. And I think, I'm always striving to get better in all areas of my game. And, doing that against lefties is definitely at the top of my list.
You had a big home run in Arizona, big home run last night. Has it been nice to show up and have some pretty immediate big swings for a new team?
Yeah, in my mind, I haven't done all that well since I've been over here. I've gotten on base, quite a bit, some walks in there and a couple of big swings, but I think I can do more. I think I can help out more, and I'm just going to continue to get more comfortable and continue to work on my craft and hopefully show up in those big moments.
That was Ryan O'Hearn earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse. O'Hearn, obviously a big home run last night to make it a 1-run game. Unfortunately, not enough. We'll see if O'Hearn can provide some pop out of the cleanup spot here today. Let's dive in to our starting pitching matchup between Kai Wei Teng and Nick Pivetta.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Right-hander Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Padres today. He's 12-4 at 2.87 ERA in 24 starts this season. Pivetta has allowed just 11 earned runs in his last 9 starts. In that span since June 25th, his 1.73 ERA and 450 opponent OPS are the best in the National League. He's had a bit more of mixed results against the Giants, a combined 4.50 ERA against them in 3 starts this season. Last start Wednesday in San Francisco, he went 6 2/3 innings, 1 run given up. June 4th in San Francisco, he went 6 innings and gave up 5 runs. April 29th in San Diego, he went 5 1/3 innings, 3 runs given up. Pavetta's 4-seam fastball has been especially good. 77 strikeouts recorded this season on the 4-seamer. That's top 5 in the majors as far as strikeouts recorded on a 4-seam fastball. So we'll see how Nick Pavetta utilizes that 4-seamer here today. Meanwhile, on the mound for the Giants, the young right-hander Kai-Wei Tang, 26 years old, 3 outings in the major leagues so far this season, just 2 starts, a 9.90 ERA in 10 innings. Last start he made was against the Padres, and they hit him hard. Inning and 2/3, 7 runs given up, 6 earned, 4 hits, and 4 walks allowed by Kai-Wei Tang. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup tonight. Nick Pavetta for the Padres, Kai-Wei Tang on the mound for San Francisco. As always, thank you for listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. When we come back, Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. join you from inside Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center. They have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Tony Gwynn Jr. here. Upgrade your outdoor living space with TimberTech, the #1 premium composite decking brand. It looks like natural